Hey, welcome to the Death of a Dream podcast. That's right. Are you hearing this audio quality? It's like we're a real show here. We definitely didn't have the disruptions that we had yesterday, and I'm so thankful for that, for being able to come here normal, like we usually do. Okay, so my great thing from yesterday was like really taking a pause and fully understanding and experiencing the fullness of my own emotions, understanding what were my emotions and which ones weren't, and what they were trying to do to disrupt me. And really sitting down and processing that. And then, I wrote it in my journal this morning, asking for help. No. Take a deep breath. Asking for help. And that's such a beyond, and it's seemingly minute because usually it's just a text message or it's just a call to a friend, but that crossover of actually authentically reaching out to someone and asking them to help you through this moment. And here's the bigger one, letting down your ego enough to fully ask, to actually say what's going on, not the powdered up version of oh, I just need a high five and a hug. I needed my friend. Let's go get coffee. The real stuff that's going on, the real root of the issue, the real problem. And, once you're on that level of intensity with whatever you've got going on, knowing when to reach out, when to call it quits, when to know that you're outmatched, there's no question. I'm new here to this energy space, to understanding all the ins and outs of what I'm feeling and experiencing. And so that means I got to call in the troops. We got to buy the books. We got to make the friends. We got to find the contacts who can help us through understanding what this means and how we get through this moment and these feelings and this life inevitably. And so yesterday I asked for help with that, a lot of help. It wasn't a one and done. I had to call one of my friends. I had to end up messaging another newer friend. We were going through it. And I didn't know how to transition. It was a lot of Googling. It was a lot of reaching out. It was a lot of just work to try to get to a better place. And I think, sometimes we kind of hold that pride card and we're no, I have everything figured out. And trust, there have been so many places in my life where I led with that card and I misled with that card. There's no way for you to know everything. There's no way for me to know everything. Even as I continue to walk through this and I talk through my experience and I think that I have it all figured out, eventually we come to a place where I got it all wrong. And I think that's the beauty of the human condition. You're gonna keep pulling yourself back up. And when you can't understand how, when you can't understand where to even pick up, that's where you start calling in people. That's where you start utilizing the contacts that you've made over this journey and start calling those in. And I think you have to really lead with that kind of surrendered heart, essentially, because that's the only way to get where you want to go. And that surrender looks like just a whole lot of accepting that you don't know everything. And that one for me was the hardest because, especially when you're a strong, confident woman and that's part of who you are and you definitely want to keep that going. We can't let everyone know that the jig is up, that we aren't this person, especially when that's a part of your makeup. It can be really hard to let that go. Because it's a form of identity crisis, right? It's a form of having to show up and really bottom line, having to discover how we navigate being this new person, being this person who asks for help, being this person who doesn't have it all figured out. And like, hey, if you've ever like willingly gone through pain, if you ever haven't, this is a great place to start. Like, just start showing up and experimenting with what you might look like if you started to surrender that power and you started to understand, embrace, and acknowledge that you don't have it all figured out. Because, for me, gosh, I had been holding on tight to that, and it took a whole lot of doses of reality that I, in fact, do not have it all figured out. And my job now, like actually my job, what I do every day is continue to seek out and learn and, figure more out with the understanding that I'll never have it figured out, that this podcast inevitably will be my life played out right in front of everyone. And since that's kind of the call to arms, it's vital that I continue to practice what I preach, that continued learning, that continued understanding of self and growth and movement through this world. So my great thing was like actually asking for help, and not in the usual powdered up way of like, girl, I really got this, but I really just needed your energy exchange. Like, no, I don't know how to navigate this. I'm very confused. I'm very lost, and I need you. I've read the books. I've done the Googling. I've done everything that I can do, and I'm still struggling to understand what's happening and how to save myself. And, I'm so grateful that we started taking these steps 2 years ago, so that now we have contacts in the playbook that we can call on, because at the start of this, you all know it. Gosh, I got a text from someone the other day, like, I'm your friend. I would have helped you. Like, I didn't have those people. I didn't think those people existed around here or could exist in my network. And what I'm finding every day is that once we open up, right, and we actually ask for people to come in and help us, right, because my closing of that door was me just thinking I had it all figured out. So guess what you don't need when you have it all figured out? Friends. And you also don't need mentors and people to come help you and teach you and continue you learning. And so that's probably the most important step. It's like closing that door on this idea that you know everything and that you're never going to need help. Right? Let's close that so that we can open this new door where people flow in abundance, because it seriously happens. Seriously. Like, it's insane. Crazy, right? I can't remember who I talked to, who I interviewed about that subject matter, but like, the world will flow in your direction if you take down the dam, people. Take it down. And I think the biggest dam that gets in all of our ways is this idea that we have it all figured out. And here's a little tip for you. If you're listening to what I just said the past 8-9 minutes, and you're going, oh yeah, how sad that she thinks she has it all figured out. I'm glad I don't. You're probably one of those people. I'm just saying. Sorry. I didn't mean to personally offend you, but I kind of did. Because that's what it would have taken for me. Blatantly being called out, because that's the reality. That's so true and so offensive, but that's where we're at. Okay. That's my great thing. Go ahead. Take time. Recognize yourself. See yourself in your own greatness, because only you can do this work. Other people giving you great things, it's not going to matter. It just isn't. I love you, and I love the people in your life, and I know that they tell you that you're beautiful and you're perfect and that you're working hard and that it'll all pay off. But if you don't actually believe what they're saying, you could have the entire world telling you that and it wouldn't matter. Okay. Now that I have started this podcast off really blatantly, obnoxiously pointing out things that will probably offend people, we'll go ahead and dive in. And you know what? Sometimes those things that like really sit weird with you, right? Like the first conference that I went to that I was just like, oh no, you're wrong. No, right? And then I had to like take a step back and be like, you realize, Hannah, you're the issue here. Like these people aren't on stage fully engaged thinking about you, thinking about the reasons why they shouldn't. Like they're here to serve you and to send you a message, and you're the one not listening. They're not the ones with the problem, right? Anyways, I'm just saying, if it offends you, it's probably time to start examining that, whatever that looks like for you. Okay, so today we're talking about like why build a bridge? Why even build yourself a bridge? Why even escape yourself from your life that's fine? Why? And I couldn't agree more. Why interrupt a life that untouched would play out perfectly fine? Why? You know, I think that's the deciding point. And that's really where this podcast started. Like, do you even want to build yourself a bridge? You know, and I was pretty much in a place where I was trying to figure out how I was going to survive. Like, what am I going to need? As someone who doesn't have much for vices, what vice could I adopt to allow me to just numb myself from what I was feeling? Literally. And I was searching, like, am I a drinker? Am I, I don't know, like, I don't know. What's it going to be? What am I going to do? You know, and I relied pretty heavily on more acceptable ones, like, I don't know, shopping a whole lot. It doesn't seem like a bad thing. It seems like a funny joke, but seriously, like to my own demise. And, you know, I think that's the thing, right? We find all these ways to validate and appreciate that we have to stay stuck, right? And like in some sort of sick, twisted sense, honestly, I think that we build lives that stick us in this fine place because we know that living and chasing the other dream, living and chasing the life that we actually want, is a lot harder than just filling our lives with things we're told we should want. It is, right? Like, hey, I'm just going to tell you, building an existence from zero, right? Building an audience, building a way and a reason, and like not knowing where I was going to go. It's probably one of the most exhausting things that I've ever done. And so that's what we're asking. Why build a bridge? I was right in the point where I was building a life that I was constantly looking to escape. And coincidingly, building a life that I didn't have time to escape. Right? And I think it's fine to still build a life that you don't really have time to escape, like if you're building an empire, for example, right? As long as it's one you don't want to. Okay. So for all of my like workaholic kill people who were like raised in this grind hustle, and like some of us, that's just us to our core. Right? Like I can't escape that even if I want to. That's just been built into my DNA. Here's the thing. It's a beautiful thing, this work ethic thing that we seem to have in common, right? And it served you well. However, when we aren't applying that to things that we actually love and enjoy and appreciate, right, we quickly find ourselves lost. We find ourselves all caught up in things that we don't even really care about. And so that moment, right, of realization, of acceptance, maybe you're listening to this and you're going, oh yeah, I mean, I have all the things. I still don't feel happy. I really just care about feeling happy. What's going to make me happy? If you're right there, this is what I want you to start focusing on. Start understanding that from this moment on, nothing is going to be easy. Nothing. Because you're going to start to explore spaces that feel dark and heavy and exhausting. You're going to start venturing down paths that are very uncharted and very abnormal, and you're going to feel very lonely in your pursuit. What I can promise you, as someone who has experienced all of those things, is that if you keep going, you'll find the lights that you need in due time. It will happen. I'm telling you. I have found more than I ever imagined I could have. But really, the reason to leave, right, has to be pretty dang good. And I think today, again, permission to explore. And I'm not saying explore and jump and take a break and understand, maybe take a mini break and maybe just listen, because here's the deal. The world isn't turning over tomorrow, right? We're not moving back into hustle grind craziness. And if you have been in craziness, I did not say that to offend you. Trust, we're all in a different place with this pandemic. But even outside of just your 9-to-5 craziness, we'll still be in a little bit of a silent mode. And so why right now? Why? Use that silence to your benefit. Start exploring today. I don't know. Do you want to start a podcast? I just had a friend reach out and she's like, I think I really want to start a podcast. Do you want to do something like that? Start exploring it. And it doesn't have to be this, right? It doesn't have to be a podcast and you're published and you have cover art and you're all official. Allow yourself to mess up. I told her, just start recording, start finding your voice, because if you don't know what you even want to do, a great place to start is just the exploration of that thing in its barest essentials, right? Start building the bridge. And I'll tell you right now, if you're deciding, okay, I'm going to take this path, I'm going to go on this journey, this is cool, the death of a dream, all in, cool, let's explore life. If you're starting in that place, first off, you can start this podcast all the way over and go through the exploration of that day by day. It's built, it's meant for a daily episodic journey of what life might look like if you started over from square one. And it's crazy, the twists and turns. But what you are going to experience is the realness of that. And that's that you really can stand and stare directly in the face of your choice. And I had stared and bounced back and forth. Do we want to do this? Do we want to do this? Do we want to stay committed to this job? Do we want to go all in on this? Is this where we're supposed to be? And then the exploration of that turned me into a very blatant no. But that journey really started with me just experimenting. Just recording audio on this computer, not having a microphone, not having any idea how I was ever going to publish in print. And that's the thing. Nothing. I'm telling you to build a bridge today, and I'm telling you that that bridge is going to take time to develop. This is the thing. If you walked up to a construction site and they were building a bridge, right? I don't know how that works. I don't know anything about construction. I don't pretend to, but I'm just guessing. If there was nothing covering like a big, scary, I'm like thinking of a very specific scary bridge. oh, oh my gosh, I'm thinking of two very scary bridges. Okay. One is on the way to Galena, on the backside of Clinton to Galena. Okay, if you don't live in Iowa, you have no idea what I'm referencing. If you do, you probably still have no idea what I'm referencing, but it's the scariest bridge that has ever existed. And it's like the highest bridge, and it's see-through. It's like one of those, it's not a gate bridge, but like it's steel and you can see through it. And it's only a single car bridge, but the bridge is like so high you can't see the other side, and so you really would have no idea if there's a car going over it, I swear. And maybe it's not even a one car bridge, but like the extreme of my anxiety, even as I'm thinking about this bridge, like I can't. Okay, so if you got to that place and you see this big stretch of water underneath you, and it's very high, and they're building a bridge. We're building a bridge, we're gonna do that. And you go there on Monday, and you get there on Wednesday, and the bridge has already been built. Are you walking across that bridge? No, you're not walking across that bridge. Not when it was the scariest, like, pass over the Mississippi River that's ever existed. Like, not a chance. Not a chance. You're not walking over it. You're not driving over it. You are not collecting $200. You are not going directly to jail. Like, you are not going to mess with that bridge. Not a chance. Right? And so I want you to think about your journey to this next place, like that bridge. If you build a bridge in 2 days, it's going to be so shaky and uncertain that you don't even know. And my guess is, even if you get across the bridge, right, and you're running and you're holding on for your dear life, even if you get across it and you complete that journey, you're going to end up somewhere that you eventually end up in the same place where you were when you didn't have a bridge, right? You'll end up uncertain and untrue and unknown whether or not this is where you wanted to be, because you moved so damn fast. And I know it's really hard. It really goes against everything that we've been taught, right? We've been talking about this experience, the way that we were all raised to hustle, to grind, to get success, to move as fast as you possibly can, right? And then I'm telling you today, it is worth slowing down. It is worth building your bridge over time so you can be sure that it's leading to the right place. And you're never going to know what the right place is. And that's even more of a reason to build it slow. The right place is in the build, right? The right place is in whatever step you're in today. The right place is in slowing down enough so you can appreciate where you're at. I don't want you to fast forward through this part just because it's uncomfortable. Trust. 2 years ago was uncomfortable. Today is still uncomfortable. Today is still ever learning and building the bridge out of the place where I was, right? And today it's just kind of like, why keep going? Why continue to build and to grow? Why not take the fast pass, right? And when I started, it was like, Hannah, you could do this in so many other ways. You could be a Beachbody coach. You could join and be a coach for something else. You could be a John Maxwell's leadership coach. Like, you could get all these certifications. And I just knew that that would be talking about a journey that just wasn't true to me, because I never felt called to any of those things. And I think that's the harder thing, is saying no two things that look like a fast pass to where you think you want to go in that moment. And you don't have to say no to everything. Some things are like perfectly aligned, but I'm telling you, trying to take the fast pass out of this discomfort is only going to pacify that feeling. Like it'll fix it for a little bit. But eventually you'll end up back here, back at the beginning of the bridge. No bridge, right? You built the bridge in 2 days. Sis, no wonder you feel so crazy when you get to the other side and shaky, right? Imagine if you ran across a bridge that was shaking and it was like 20,000 miles high in the sky above the freaking Mississippi River. No one wants to fall in that river. Like, I'll fall in the ocean. I don't want to fall in the Mississippi River. I'm just saying, if you've never seen it, you don't want to. Okay. Imagine if you ran across there. Imagine what your adrenaline would do. Imagine like how unsure and unsteady you would be on the other side of that. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want you to excuse yourself from. You don't have to take the fast pass to where you want to go just because it feels more comfortable. And I know that is preaching against societal norms. I know that the common theme is fast forward, get there as fast as you can, make all the money, do all the things, get there, get there, get there. And I am calling you today to just allow yourself to slow down. Just allow yourself to build your bridge over time. And it starts with a very simple, doesn't even have to be public, exploration of what that looks and sounds like. Really, once you start writing dreams down that are true to you, it's amazing how the world really gives in and starts to align with you. But it can't just be writing these dreams down and talking about them. It has to be actual movement. And one thing, like record for a while, like write for a while, just start experimenting. And those things don't even have to be public, but like over time, you're going to build a foundation that is not shaky, that does not call for abundance of adrenaline to pass over time and time again, right? I don't want you to call on those resources that are built to protect you in fight or flight for your life. Like, I want you to be able to navigate spaces safely and calmly and beautifully and not just hustle through every moment of your life, because we've done that, right? Remember, we know what that feels like. That's why we're here. That's why we're listening. That's why we're writing. That's why we're speaking. Like, we've done, hustled, and it got us nowhere. So let's at least start experimenting with the other. Let's at least start testing silence. Let's at least start testing slowness. And just start adding it in slowly. Maybe you take a weekend here. Maybe you take a week over here, right? And truly tap out and experiment and see what you find. See if the energy repeats itself. See if it feels different than what you're currently experiencing. If it doesn't, you've only experimented. You can go right back. If it does, you can continue to follow that and build a bridge that has a strong foundation that's been built over time, and that's true, tried and true, for you to safely pass over to the other side. Build a bridge today that's built on a foundation that's going to last, that doesn't require you to escape. Right? Stop building a life you are constantly called to escape, and start slowly building one that you actually want to live in. Your reason to build a bridge today is that. As always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful. What are you going to do? Change the world.